The one thing that we didn't get into this morning was talking about the astrological side of it and the role of the decans. The decans are these demons, 3 to a sign, so there are 36 of them. And this was thought to be an astrological conceit that goes back to Egypt, as opposed to the ordinary zodiacal significators, which go back to Haran in what is now modern Iraq. And these decans were the demons that were summoned by these Renaissance magi in an effort to control and manipulate fate. You may, if you were paying attention this morning, noticed that in all the reading I did from the Corpus Hermeticum, there was really nothing explicitly magical about it. It was philosophical. There was one mention, I think, of animating statues in the description of the four-gated city. But it was those magical animation passages that really captured the imagination of the Renaissance, and they built on that. And the idea, simply put, is that these decans and zodiacal signs are at the center of associative schemata, which include plants, minerals, odors, certain flowers, certain animals. Everything had its decanic assignation. And so if you were involved in promoting an affair with a woman or something like that, then you would do an invocation to Venus, and you would gather the associated minerals, stones, animals, and you would put them in a room, and then certain tonal modes were also associated with these things. And so you would play the music, you would have the flowers present, the minerals present, the invocations, and what you were trying to do is create a microcosm of the macrocosm to draw down this stellar energy. It wasn't about the classical Hollywood appearance of demons in a circle. That's the stuff of Picatrix, the earlier, somewhat less refined style of magic. Let's see. And also what we didn't talk about this morning was the importance of Kabbalah, which came in quite late, but was then worked out in great detail. This was originally the idea, it was the Jewish contribution to this kind of magic. It was the idea that since the world had been made by Jehovah, by the speaking of words, in principio et verbo caro factum est. In other words, the speaking of Hebrew was thought to be the use of a primary linguistic tool for the purposes of creation. The problem for these Italians was very few of them spoke Hebrew, and so it was sometimes practiced silently. The mere constructing of these Hebrew letters and the setting out of messages in Hebrew was deemed efficacious as well. And then a further declension for people who were even frustrated with that was to channel magical languages which were pseudo-Hebraic in structure and appearance. And this is a whole branch of research, much too arcane for us to go into here. The only non-Hebraic magical language that I may mention will be Enochian. And Enochian was an angelic language channeled to John Dee and used by him in his magical evocations, and then later it was taken up by Aleister Crowley and the folks of the Golden Dawn. But there were many of these magical languages